Hello, everybody, and welcome to All Queued Up, the review podcast tied to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc., etc., etc. I'm your host, Greg Dietz, and with me always is Maya Don Fisher. How you doing this week?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Nothing bad happened. Just had some frustrating things happen, which I was telling you about before we started recording. But for the listeners' sake, uh, I'm I'm painting a Master Grade Gundam Barbatos kit, um, and I've been painting on it. Been working on it for a week and a half, 2 weeks now, and this type of kit has a fully sculpted, articulated inner frame and then armor that goes over the outside of it. And this is my first foray into fully painting inside and out, head to toe, a Gundam kit. I've painted frame details before and I've painted armor parts before, but I've never painted the entire kit, as in every single piece. Um, so that's been fun. It's been time consuming, um, but I've also lost a lot of time because I'm using spray paints, Tamiya brand spray paints, which they spray super fine, little rattle cans. They're only 3 ounces, 100 milliliters each one. But I can get them online from a company for about $5 a pop. Normally they cost like $8 in retail. uh, last Wednesday I ran out of the light gunmetal that I was doing the frame. Uh, Thursday I went to a hobby shop in Johnson City when I went for my laser hair removal, and it was the only color they were sold out of. So I had to order some. Got it on Saturday. Well, Saturday I ran out of primer. I was like, son of a bitch. And longtime listeners will know, if you've paid attention, I live in a very rural area. Like, closest Walmart to me is about 35 minutes away. Uh, and everything in my town closes at 5 o'clock on Fridays and doesn't reopen until like 8 o'clock on Mondays. It's just like, fuck it, it's the weekend. If you need something, go to Walmart. Well, Misty wasn't going to drive an hour round trip just for a single $5 can of primer. It costs more gas to get up there and back. Uh, and I was like, all right, I'll just wait Monday morning. The lumber company will open up 8 o'clock, and we'll get some Monday morning. We did. Got back to painting. Been making good progress. This morning I ran out of my white paint, and this suit is predominantly white. I mean, there's accented colors of blue and gold and red, but it's predominantly white. And I ran out of white, and I had to order more paint. So now it's going to be a few more days before I can get anything done. And it's frustrating because what I've gotten done, it looks really fucking good. But yeah, that's pretty much been my week. Just hanging out, painting, watching stuffs, and yeah. How's your week been?
Mostly uneventful, like, doing chores and stuff like that. I do have three things I want to bring up because they're all entertainment based, but, um, the, I kind of talked to Maya about this mostly. Actually, two of the three I talked about with you quite a bit, but um, everyone needs to watch the Harley Quinn show on HBO Max. Straight the fuck up. Look at it as like an Elseworld sort of DC universe. And it's kind of designed to make fun of DC as a whole, but in a very smart and clever way. So the general story, if you don't know, Harley Quinn and Ivy escape prison together, escape Arkham together, and Harley, like Harley realizes very quickly that Joker is poison for her, so she tries to become her own villain, and Ivy is there trying to help her along the way, but like not being super successful because it's fucking Harley Quinn. And through the course of the show, they become a couple. That's season 1. Season 2.
That also mirrors the comics. I mean, they've been a couple
Right,
of the comics for several years now.
Big inspiration from the comics. The difference is the comedy level, the silly parody level, if you will. Because Bane looks like Bane, but he talks like this.
Oh, very
Yeah.
Tom Hardy from The Dark Knight.
Yes, but there's a lot of comedy in that too. But my favorite thing about the show is the transfer. What's that?
I mean, The Dark Knight Rises, not The Dark Knight.
Whatever, I knew what you meant. And I'm sure our audience too. My favorite part of it is the transformation of the Joker. So at the end of season 2, something profound happens to the Joker, and his like new position in the world in season 3 is fucking fantastic. I don't want to spoil it. I'm just saying, like, you gotta watch this show. Like, it's genuinely really fucking funny. Do you know the comedian? He's a large black dude and a very soft-spoken voice, but he's a stand-up comic. I'm trying to think of his fucking name. If I had his name, you'd know exactly who the fuck I'm talking about. Oh shit on my ass.
Oh my!
I'm gonna look up his name real quick because that's gonna fucking kill me. Was that too much? Is that no? Well, Alan Tudyk does the voice of Clayface, which is fucking hilarious. Ron Funches.
Oh, Ron Funches. Yeah.
He voices King Shark.
Oh wow!
But it's not it's a completely different King Shark than you've ever seen before. Because as it's just Ron Funches doing the voice, like there's no alteration to his cadence or anything. King Shark in this is really smart, and a little bit of a hacker. And like Diedrich Bader is Batman.
Oh shit!
Christopher Maloney is Commissioner Gordon. Oh, there's a whole fucking thing with Commissioner Gordon that's hilarious. Jim Rash is the Riddler. There's an elderly Jewish man who has a wheelchair that has like gadgets on it. And his name is Cy Borgman. Get it, Cy Borgman?
Yeah.
Clever. Voiced by Jason Alexander. Yeah, it just goes on and on and on, and it's just, oh my god, it's so fucking good. Like, I cannot recommend it enough. And they just had their Valentine's special, which is why I was bringing this up. And it's so fucking funny. It is so fucking funny. Do you know the character Etrigan, right?
Who?
Etrigan, the demon that rhymes, that exclusively talks in rhyme, that has teamed up with Constantine.
No.
Fuck. Well,
I didn't read any Constantine growing up, and that's not a demon I'm quite familiar with.
That's what he looks like. Oh, you can't see my camera. I don't know why I was doing that. Anyway, yeah, he's a magical being, and in the Harley Quinn show, he actually runs a magical shop in the middle of Gotham. And this is the first time he's ever shown up. But for the Valentine's special, because of him helping Harley Quinn, because Harley comes in and says, I want to give Ivy the best orgasm she's ever had. So he gets her the incantation, gives her the best orgasm, but because Ivy's connected to the green, which is what like Swamp Thing is a part of too. Or Man Thing? Swamp Thing.
No, it's Swamp Thing in DC. Man Thing's in Marvel.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I don't know why I get the shit confused, but yeah. So because she's connected to the green, it causes all these flower petals to go all over Gotham. That when they land on a person, it causes them to go into this like extreme horny state where they just are like everyone in Gotham's fucking in the middle of the street.
That's awesome.
At the same time, Bane has met a dominatrix who wants to take him back to her apartment and have sex. But because of a scene prior, he's worried he has too small of a dick. So he goes to Etrigan, gets a potion that he pours on his junk, which burns. And it learns that the reason it's burning is because he takes HGH, which is a great joke for Bane. Which causes him to turn into a kaiju. But then the flower petals hit him, and now he's a giant kaiju with a raging fucking heart on. And he can't stop fucking buildings. It is
oh my god,
hilarious. And that's just a little taste of this entire special. Like, it's intercut with like DC couples talking about how they like fell in love or something. That, like, my favorite was Darkseid. That was the funniest one. Like, I cannot do the show so good. And that's the thing. I wouldn't recommend watching this Valentine's special without having watched seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, I got
Like,
you.
There's some context in it that you have to have for it to make sense. Like, I'm in that little description, I'm leaving things out.
Well, I assumed as much.
Like Riddler, he comes out as gay, which is great for him. Falls in love with Clock King, which is an old school Batman villain. Mm-hmm. So they're a couple in the show, and that's been a thing for a minute. Like, here's the thing about the show. It's crass in its humor, but progressive in its storytelling. Kind of like South Park. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, do you remember the episode from, like, 2014 of South Park where Cartman wants to be trans so that way he can use the girls' bathroom? But this backfires on him because he's a piece of shit?
I didn't see that one, but now I'm going to have to watch it.
It's pretty funny. Like, he tries to use the bathroom, or he doesn't want to use the boys' bathroom anymore, so he starts calling himself Erica, and everyone gets pissed off at him in the school, but Mr. Garrison is the only one that's just like, let Cartman do his thing. Like, he's like, let Eric fucking be a piece of shit. You don't want this fight, trust me. But the school fought it anyway, and like, they had to learn essentially that trans people just want to use a fucking bathroom. They just want to take a piss or a shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And so the school then says, like, you know, we're going to respect everybody for who they are and what bathroom they want to use. And for all the children that don't want to use the bathroom with trans people, we have an exclusive bathroom for you. And it was like the basement or some shit. It was really fucking funny. You have to watch it.
Nice.
But the reason I bring that up is because a bunch of morons on Twitter have taken a clip of Cartman using the girls' bathroom out of context and been like, South Park is the only show that's not woke. Like, you are dumb as shit.
Have you ever watched an episode? What the fuck?
Not.
I mean, Man Bear Pig's been the allegory for climate change since 2005?
Yeah. That was like season 3, I think.
Nah, it was more like season 9.
Oh, it had been later. It had to been like 2000, right?
I don't know.
First appearance of Man Bear Pig in South Park.
April 26, 2006.
Okay, April 26, 2006. I thought it was earlier than that, but it was after An Inconvenient Truth. That's when that movie came out. That's when they made fun of it. I just couldn't remember what year that came out. Anyway, so the other thing I wanted to bring up was I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. Is it in my top 10 Marvel movies? Absolutely not. But is it an 8 out of 10? Yes. The biggest thing that I enjoyed from it was its creativity. Because they're in the quantum realm, they can kind of get away with whatever they want. And the scenery, the visuals, the I don't even want to call them aliens, like some atomic creatures,
mm-hmm.
I guess is what you call them. Fucking awesome to look at, like really fucking fun. The story is somewhat basic. Like Scott's entire personality in this movie is, I have to protect Cassie. That's it. There's not really much else. Which ultimately is fine because we have so many characters in the movie that you kind of have to do something like that. But when you do something like that, it kind of takes away from other aspects, like character development. But we've also had 2 whole movies and other subsequent movies with Scott in it. So it's not like
Yeah.
he needed character growth per se. But yeah, it's fun. It's just a fun movie. It puts King the Conqueror in a, oh fuck, this guy is like, he's a serious threat kind of perspective. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Here's another thing: is I don't necessarily think it is pertinent to rush to the theater to see it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to see it, go see it. It's not going to be a waste of your money. But if you're like, I don't have the time and money right now, and it'll probably be out of theater, so I'll just wait for Disney Plus. Do that.
Yeah, because they've been doing 45 days after theater. They put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Roughly.
So end of fucking March.
Well, I think it'll be a little longer than that because Wakanda Forever was, it was longer than 45 days because that came out at the end of November. Did it? Hold on. Release date for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
In the United States
November
of America,
11th.
Black Panther.
Okay. No, on Disney Plus. February 1st. So that was
almost 90 days.
Yeah.
Now, regardless, I mean,
did you just say irregardless?
No, I said, well, regardless.
Oh, okay. Boy, oh boy.
But if you want to get technical about it, irregardless is a fucking word, regardless of what you think.
I know it's a word. I don't want it. It's dumb. Fucking dumb. It's a fucking double. It's a double negative, and I hate it.
Yeah, I know. That's why. Okay. But all right. What I was going to say, regardless of when I see it, when is the next Marvel movie coming out? What is the next release?
Let's see. Next Marvel movie release. I'd rather go to Cinema Blend, thank you. Guardians of the Galaxy, May 5th. And I don't think that movie is going to tie to Ant-Man in any way, shape, or form.
No, probably not, but I'll definitely go see that one.
And then they moved the Marvels back to November 10th.
Huh. Nothing against Ant-Man, but I'd rather go see a Guardians movie than an Ant-Man movie.
It's fine. I keep telling people over and over and over, like, I grew up on the fucking comic books. The comic books are not, like, you don't have to read the individual stories to enjoy the big team up. Like, I didn't watch Miss Marvel. Okay, so, hey, Miss Marvel's going to show up in an upcoming movie that might be important because there's multiple characters in it. So maybe check that one out, and you'll understand what her powers and character are in that fucking movie. Much like the fucking big team ups. Like, I'm not lying. Like, did I read every fucking comic growing up? No. Like, I didn't.
I read a shit ton, but I couldn't. It was impossible to read everything. Hell, when I worked in a comic book store back in 1995, I picked up, because I got a 40% discount on everything, I picked up 43 titles a month. 43 titles a month in 1995, and that still didn't. I still wasn't reading shit that I'm in love with now that was publishing then, like Sandman and Hellboy and Preacher and shit like that. But
like Disney Disney loves its Star Wars and Marvel because it makes them money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Follow me here. There's a reason I'm doing this. They lost a huge fucking number of subscribers last month. Like, I'm talking millions. And people went, oh, it's because they're going woke with Marvel and Star Wars. No.
Oh my God.
They lost those subscribers because they lost cricket. They couldn't stream cricket on fucking Disney Plus anymore. I'm not kidding. That is literally it. Because guess what?
What's cricket?
The sport.
Oh.
Yeah, they lost that contract. So people who watched cricket exclusively dropped off the platform. And guess what? Like, the reason I bring that up is because superheroes, sci-fi, fantasy are not the biggest money makers in entertainment. It's sports. Period. Hands down. EA, Electronic Arts. People go, oh, Madden's a huge moneymaker. Not really. How is it not? It's the biggest. FIFA. Holy shit. They could drop every single contract other than FIFA and still stay like as one of the highest moneymakers in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's no Fortnite, but I don't think people realize that. Like, and the reason I bring that up is because for Disney, when they look at Marvel, they're like, as long as you're making enough to bring money back in from ticket sales, then we're good. And even if you don't, like, one of your movies will.
Yeah.
So I just, like, people don't understand that that's how that's going to work. So that's why I say all the time, like, a lot of these, like, okay, when Secret Wars comes out or Secret Invasion comes out, yeah, you're probably going to want to be caught up. And whether that's through a fucking video on YouTube or watching the whole thing, then fine. I had a guy that I talked to who couldn't stand Miss Marvel. He just didn't enjoy it. He was like, it's not for me. And I'm like, then it's not for you. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's still, like, are you going to stop watching Marvel because they came out with Miss Marvel? Or are you going to still be excited for the characters you like?
Yeah.
Like, most of the superheroes in Marvel, I met through reading Spider-Man. I had never read a Fantastic Four for years. I only knew them through Spider-Man. Same with Daredevil. X-Men was a different fucking, because that was through the cartoon. Like, people don't realize this, but you know, a lot of people put Iron Man up there with like one of the most popular superheroes, and I'm like, the fuck he was. Like,
no, even when his movie was announced, he was considered a B-level character.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like, it was Spider-Man, Cap, Hulk.
Wolverine, X-Men, Hulk.
Those were all the A-list. Like, maybe
hell, Fantastic Four was even A-list back then.
No, they weren't. Yeah, they weren't. Yeah. But anyway,
no, they were. That's what I'm saying. In the early 2000s, they were.
Were they?
Mm-hmm. They were fucking phenomenal back then when Mark Waid was on the book.
Well, I'm not saying they weren't. I'm just saying, like, in popularity terms, like, say, like,
well,
which comics got
they were
read
pretty
more.
popular in the 90s and early 2000s.
Well, I'm not saying they weren't, because I had a math teacher who had tons of Fantastic Four memorabilia on his walls and shit when I was in 7th grade.
Then they came out with those awful fucking movies at Fox.
Oh, oddly enough, Punisher is a A-list when it comes to popularity. I'm not talking about recently. I'm talking about, like, in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
But that's the thing, is, like, these movies are going to make characters more popular. They're going to make them stand out, you know, because they're films. You know, you have less time. That's the thing people got to understand. Like, if an entire storyline is happening for a superhero, it's going to be 24 to 36 fucking issues long, which is a couple years worth of storytelling, because one issue of a comic book comes out a month.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I don't want to go too deep into that shit because Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, good movie, 8 out of 10. And for anybody bitching about fucking MODOK in the movie, he's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. He's funny. He's silly. He's a legitimate threat. Like, he almost kills Cassie twice. So, but it's fucking MODOK we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So chill the fuck out. Anyway, the last thing I want to talk about before we get to our reviews is there was a very like high profile game that came out on
Game Pass on Xbox.
It came out yesterday. Yeah. But what I was trying to say was that like even though it came out yesterday, like it was being talked about for like months. And every single promo I had ever seen was there was no dialogue. It just showed like kind of what combat looked like a little bit. And I was like, oh, this looks really interesting. I want to check it out. I had no interest in buying it because it's a single player game and I'm going to rent it or I'm going to get it on Game Pass, one of the two. And it was coming out to Game Pass and I was like, sweet. So yesterday morning of recording this, I download the game. After an hour of playing it, I turned it off and uninstalled it, which is not a super common thing for me. If I don't enjoy a game, I usually like keep it on the system. So I'm like, I'll give it another chance. This game can go fuck itself entirely. I have sent Maya 3 different clips.
It's cringy as fuck.
The dialogue is some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard in a fucking game. It is atrocious. And I'm not talking about like what the character says in the scenarios or what other characters say in those scenarios. Though fucking like 30 minutes. It is a 30-minute fucking intro basically introducing you to the world. Like probably people go, oh, it feels like BioShock. No. BioShock was exciting from the fucking get. You're in a goddamn plane crash. And you are getting to control the character moving to the next thing. In BioShock Infinite, yeah, it takes about 30 minutes to get to combat, but there's so much leading up to it that's interesting. And you kind of get to choose what pace you want to take it. This game goes, there's not a whole lot to interact with. You're not really given a whole lot of information. You know that it's Russia. You know that like it's a retro future kind of vibe. And you're like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then characters come up and like will explain something to you. And you ever read a Michael Crichton book?
Once.
You know how he goes into too much detail about the science of something?
Yeah.
NPCs will do that in this game.
Oh.
It is so fucking boring. And they do a weird thing with also like if you're walking around and somebody's talking, like somebody's talking to somebody else, like not to you, it's just kind of background chatter.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put very tiny subtitles above the head.
Okay.
Of whoever's talking. And I'm like, that's fucking stupid. That's real weird and dumb. But that's minor compared to everything else. So you're tasked with walking through the city. You get to this huge fucking building. You go inside. There's nobody around. It's just an empty fucking space. You take an elevator, which takes a minute, and you're talking to your glove, which the glove's name is CHR-LES. CHAR-LES. And he's like, I would prefer you to call me Charlize or Charles or whatever. And he's just like, shut up, glove. I'm calling you Charles. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like,
wow.
Majorly aggressive for no fucking reason. So you go up to the top floor, you go into a building. Again, no interactions with anybody. And then all of a sudden, these two fucking, like, 10-foot tall fucking, like, I was 15 and designed a robot designed for these two fucking very hot robots with no faces, by the way. They give you a key. You go back down the elevator you came in, and you walk out to the same, like, I'm not joking. This takes like fucking 5 minutes, and it's there's no discernible reason for it. You get into a car, and then all of a sudden a robot lifts you up, and then you spend the next fucking 10 flying around these floating cities while a disembodied voice just tells you about the history. And I'm like, I just want to play a game. You then get to an area where, like, oh no, the robots are kind of going after you, and like the shit this fucking main character says is so bad. The best thing I can do for you guys is like just play the first hour and see how bad it is. But the other thing is the combat is uninspired, boring, and janky as fuck. I play my games on easy because I like to just enjoy a story while, interacting with it. The combat was so boring to me in this game. Not even boring, just like jarry, and I don't know. That was one of the biggest reasons I turned it off and uninstalled it.
Yeah.
But as I'm playing it, I'm like, this just sucks. Like, it just wasn't that much fun. And I was like, maybe it gets better. Like, IGN gave it an 8. I've seen a few other groups give it a high score, and I'm like, maybe there's something here that I'm missing. I called it quits when I got to a save room, and you use the device you would normally use in other games to level up your character's abilities or to level up weapons. And it is the, like, horniest robotic fucking fridge in existence. Let me play a little dialogue.
Oh no.
Let me just pull this up to show you how fucking bad it is. Maya says, oh no, but I know she's all in. Let's see if I can fucking find it. Where did I put that? There it is. Okay. So,
I'll turn you on, all right? Just let me at you.
What a great! Oh, I love tough guys. I'm on fire.
Closer! I can't reach her. I'm trying. She's one strong ass bitch.
I'm at your service, sugar. Anything for my master? Me on.
Oh, I'll turn you to you soon.
so now, just for context, you are in the system itself. You are on menus. Menus to level up your character and to level up your weapons. That's it.
More skills will become available to you soon. But choose shock for now. You were fortunate enough to acquire about 50 grams of neuropolymer. I suggest exchanging this dose with lovely Nora for a new skill. You don't mind, do you?
Oh, how can I resist? Now let me show you what I can do. Professionally, I mean.
I've seen it. Literally. Crispy critters.
I'm here to help you upgrade.
Somebody in the writer's room went, you know what would be a good slogan for a character to constantly say through the game when insulting somebody? Crispy critters.
Ugh.
He says it like 80 times in the game, according to what I've read online.
Your red-hot pocket rockets. And believe me, handsome, you can upgrade whatever tickles your fancy.
Weapons are useful. Open the corresponding window, Major.
Get rid of that glove, handsome. You don't need him anymore now that you've got me. I'll service you however you want. Got a sword? A massive sword? Thrust it deep into my socket so I can make it sturdier and sharper.
Nora can upgrade weapons and equipment, as well as manufacture new items from blueprints. To do this, provide the repair vendor with the resources you will undoubtedly find as you rummage through the entire area.
You can fill me with whatever you want, big guy. Insert your axe. I'll give you the time of your life.
You're sick, you know that?
Deeper? Again? Oh, yes, honey, more, yes.
That's 2 minutes. That's a 2-minute fucking scene.
Yeah.
Level up your axe.
It's fucking horrible.
Oh, it's so fucking frustrating. There's a whole scene where like there's an older lady that you're talking to who's like part of the resistance, and because these robots uprising or whatever, and like her dialogue is bad. I'm just like, this fucking game sucks. It just fucking sucks. Like, if you're looking to play Atomic Heart, don't. Just don't.
Yeah.
People are like, well, isn't the dialogue supposed to be satirical? I'm like, satirical to what? Like, that's
It's
not how
just bad.
satire works. Oh, it's fucking atrocious. Good. It gets an F. All right, let's get to reviewing our shows. Jesus Christ, that took a minute.
Which we only had
Oh,
two
well.
things
I
to
need to
watch
talk about
this
Atomic
week.
Heart. Yeah, so we're watching episode 6 of The Last of Us and episode 7 of Poker Face.
Poker Face.
And we're going to start with Poker Face, since I came up with
Yeah. This episode 7, it was titled The Future of the Sport, and it was guest starring Tim Blake Nelson as a declining third-generation veteran race car driver, Keith Owens, and his rival, a hot-headed up-and-comer, Davis McDowell. And their confrontation comes to a head at a Speedway's late model championship via sabotage and a deadly accident. Essentially, Tim Blake Nelson's character sabotages the young up-and-comers race car, and he thought that he caused him to wreck on the track. In fact, his daughter was in the car, and she went into a coma, and she was, severely injured. But no murder this time, just attempted murder. Which he confessed to. We don't know what his punishment was. I'm sure it was pretty severe. But yeah, this one, Charlie was working at a go-kart track, and it just so happens one of her coworkers was the mother of the young race car driver, and she witnessed the young race car driver get his ass handed to him by Tim Blake Nelson's character's daughter on go-kart tracks repeatedly. And he got mad, and when he saw Tim Blake Nelson sabotaging his car, he decided to let it stay sabotaged and offered to let her get back at her father for not letting her take over when he refused to retire. And that way, she would wreck, and it would be like revenge on the family. I didn't like this one all that much.
Really?
I mean, it was fine, but I think this was my least favorite episode.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's definitely like, it's not the best episode by any stretch of the fucking imagination, or like even in the top 5. But, well, this is episode 7. To me, it was better than the band episode.
Okay.
And I thought that was my least favorite. So
okay,
because I did enjoy the fact that it wasn't a murder. I really did. I enjoyed that it was sure an attempted murder, but I thought that the story was fun, predictable but fun. I enjoyed it.
I mean, I didn't. I shouldn't say I didn't like it. I don't dislike it. I just didn't like it as well as any of the other episodes, I guess.
Yeah. Because I've said that about things we watched before too. So
it was still a decent watch. I enjoy Tim Blake Nelson in anything.
Yeah.
Hell, every time I see the guy, I think about, oh brother, where art thou?
I for some reason go to Buster. The fuck's the character's name from the fucking movie on Netflix. That's like it's an anthology kind of thing of the Wild West.
Oh, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Scruggs, thank you. Fuck, I was going to say Strags. I was like, that's not right.
That shit was entertaining.
I fucking love that movie. It's great. think I gave it an A in this podcast, but yeah, I agree with you. He's fucking fantastic, and he's in something. I'm probably gonna like it.
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's much else to say about it. I thought that the I'll say this about it. The one thing that kind of threw me for a loop was that it seemed like Charlie was less in tune with people's bullshit in this episode than in the past ones.
Yeah, a little bit.
It kind of felt like maybe it was for our sake to see the show that, like, if she's good friends with the person who's the piece of shit, she might ignore some bullshit easilier. So, I don't know. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, the fucking connection likes to do this whole thing when you're talking. Sometimes we're just goes, I'm like, uh-oh. This fucking website, I tell you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find a different means of recording, I think, for
until they fix their shit.
Yeah, and it's only been recent that it's been doing this, just in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why, what it is. It's not my connection. It's not your connection. And I gave feedback, and they're trying to say, oh, well, your connection was faulty. I was like, my connection's not faulty. I get 350 megs download speed and like almost 80 some up. So
yeah. No, and we're hardwired, so
yes,
it's definitely not a connection issue.
And my router is literally 2.5 feet from my tower, 3 feet max.
We also have zero issues with any other site that we would use to talk. So, come on, StreamYard, it's your shit.
Yep. But yeah, what grade would you give this episode?
A solid C+.
Yeah, I was thinking a C myself.
I enjoyed it when it came to the context of the story. I thought that the different setting was fun. Also, you know,
Tim Blake Nelson
is always fucking entertaining to watch. So it probably gets higher marks because of him, but yeah. Not the show's biggest showing or best showing, because that still belongs to the old folks episode.
That was a good one.
That was so fucking fun. But yeah, solid C+. What about you?
I'll give it a C, just a flat C. It wasn't as enjoyable as other episodes, of course, but it still told an entertaining story. But yeah, I kind of would have liked to have known the consequences of the fallout of him admitting to it. Because I know there had to be some type of punishment there, but we never really see the punishment type of thing anyway in the show, so I can't really hold that against it, because it's it's not like a consistent thing that they do anyway. But it's, I don't know, something about this episode. Just I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not a big fan of stock car racing. Maybe that I have some, bias in me in that. I don't know. Maybe there's some subconscious subliminal bias against it, but I don't know.
Shit! Sorry.
I mean, it's acted well enough. It's written well enough. It just fell a little flat for me this week.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Not every episode's going to be gold.
But speaking of episodes that are gold,
there's that.
Speaking of episodes that are gold, episode 6.
You stole
simply
my segue.
titled. Yeah, I did. episode 6 of The Last of Us is titled Ken. And I'm going to give you a rundown and then we'll talk about it. 3 months after Henry and Sam's deaths, Joel and Ellie reach a small, thriving community in Jackson, Wyoming, where Joel is reunited with his brother Tommy, who he discovers is about to be a father with his new wife, Maria. Ellie learns about Sarah's fate from Maria. Joel confides in Tommy about Ellie's immunity and his own declining mental state. Joel asks Tommy to take Ellie to the Fireflies as he is afraid he cannot keep her safe. Ellie overhears them and confronts Joel, who insists they will part ways in the morning. Joel changes his mind after remembering his daughter, and the two of them travel to Colorado on horseback. They find the Fireflies have vacated their base, possibly relocating to a hospital in Utah. Joel and Ellie attempt to escape a group of raiders. When one of them attacks Joel, Joel kills him, but he is stabbed during the struggle. Joel and Ellie escape the others, but Joel soon collapses and falls off their horse, leaving Ellie unsure of how to proceed.
Hitting the same notes in the game. Just
Yeah. Like in the game, that dam that they came across, that's where they first meet Tommy. And they go by Jackson, but they don't go into the town. But they say, oh, the kids are probably watching movies this evening. You know, because they talked about how they got electricity from the dam and they had a nice little thriving community there, but you never go into it. This you actually see.
Do you not? Because I remember there's a whole
community.
scene where you go into a spot where Ellie like sees a horse, and there's a joke where Joel goes like, because she mentioned that she rode a horse, and he's like, when the hell have you ridden a horse? Like, that's in the game.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly 100%, but no, you don't go into the actual town. You just ride by the town. Like
I remember
overlooking it
coming up
from
to
a
the
bluff.
As I remember coming up to the big doors in the game, and there's like the big giant wooden doors, and there's a woman pointing a gun at Ellie and Joel. There's a couple other people pointing guns at Ellie and Joel, and Ellie pulls out her gun, and there's a joke where like Joel says we're just passing through, and she makes the woman at the gate makes a joke about like she doesn't look for something like that, and Joel's like and she's like, and then pointed first, to which then you hear a voice, and it's Tommy, and he comes out the gate, and the woman up top says, "You know this guy?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's my brother." And then they hug. They talk about kind of like they're just passing through, and then the woman comes around the corner and says, "It's a good thing Tommy knew you, because that'd have been real awkward if I shot you, since I'm your sister-in-law."
Yeah.
And then you go into those giant doors, and I swear.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I don't think there's any gameplay like actually in the town. There might be a cutscene briefly going through it, but not to the level of detail that they went into in the show,
Well,
of course.
I also wouldn't call it gameplay as much as you're just walking through the town with dialogue.
Yeah.
Like you can go and pet a horse, and
Yeah, I'm not.
you don't go into the town to the context of the show. Like the town is first off not that close to the fucking gate in the game. Like the big ass doors in the game. The town isn't right fucking behind those doors.
No.
But there's also a quick nod to a conversation that Ellie and Joel have about the dam. In the game, Ellie asks what that is, to which Joel says it's a hydroelectric dam, to which Ellie says a hydro who? And Joel says it turns water into electricity. And she goes, how does that happen? He goes, look, I know what it is. I don't know how it works. That's their whole conversation for the dam.
Yep.
And so for the show, he just cuts it close. Don't ask because I don't know. It's like, nice. That's fun. The scene with the fucking dog. I was like, oh, how's this going to play out? Because that's not something we experienced in the game.
Yeah. It was
I
interesting.
don't know what was going to happen with that. Yeah.
I
But it played
really
out.
liked Pedro Pascal got to act his ass off in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Like you're starting to see genuine, deep emotions come from him, and he's expressing to Tommy, who really is the only person in the world who knows him, how afraid he is and how he's losing who he used to be. He's losing his hearing. He's losing, his abilities. He's not capable of doing the things that he used to do, and he's terrified of failing again. Because it's been 20 years, and he still can't get over the fact that he failed his daughter, and now he's growing to care for Ellie. And he's terrified he's going to fail her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like there's that. There's also the fact that like I like that they're making him proper older.
Yeah.
Whereas in the game, like he's 55, but he's like crouching all the time, and he doesn't have these like issues that 55-year-olds would have. Like or 56, I guess at this point. But like, so they're playing with that, and I'm like, this is clever. This is real clever. There's a piece of information that I have that was spoken about on the podcast that's hosted by Troy Baker.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you the information, but you have zero context to it.
See, now I'm intrigued.
How do I'm trying to figure out how to say this without. Okay, I'll just say it like this. In The Last of Us Part 2, Ellie has a love interest by the name of Dina.
Yeah, yeah.
The little girl that was staring at her when they're eating is Dina.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I got you.
The problem with saying that, though, is... I don't know. It ruins some shit, but it doesn't matter. We talk spoilers on this podcast, and I'm just... Because that's the thing. You haven't played Last of Us Part 2, and I need you to fucking play it now. Like, today. Fucking driving me nuts.
I can't play it today.
It's curing me. That being said, there's a lot of little things. There's a scene in the game that is a pivotal moment for the relationship between Joel and Ellie, and they fucking reenacted that basically almost word for word for the show.
Yeah.
You have no idea what loss is. I was like, yes, you said the line. Oh, it's fucking incredible. Oh, I laughed so fucking hard at Tommy's face when you realized that he is in a communist like thing.
That was so fucking funny. Here he is, former United States military veteran, former Marine. And he's like, it's one big collective. Everybody shares everything. Joel's like, so it's communism. He's like, no. And then his wife's like, yeah, it's a commune. We're communists. His face
was just like, oh, my whole world just got shattered there for a second. Oh, fucking love Tommy. It's funny too, because in the game, right after that scene, some raiders, some bandits attack the dam.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember if it was that or if it was fireflies, but I think it's just raiders.
Raiders, yeah, raiders.
And so you have to play the video game and do like and try to escape. But the show was like, no, we're gonna make this an emotional departure. I'm like, clever. I think that's honestly why I think the show is better than the game. And I tried to explain this to somebody. I said the game is a 10 out of 10 for me. It is incredibly well done, incredibly well structured, paced. It's
Mhm.
fantastic. But the show is doing better than the game. That's got to be fucking worth something. I don't know how you put that in that category. Like, that's why we keep giving the show an S. Because if the show is better than the game and the game's a 10 out of 10, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and this episode was fucking wonderful. Just for the storytelling purposes. The old couple at the very beginning were funny as hell.
Oh, yeah.
I
That
really
was great.
enjoyed the old Native American couple.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Why didn't you shoot him? Gun was all the way over there. Where are we on this map? You better tell me the same thing as her. Did you tell him the truth? Yeah. You telling me the truth? Yeah.
I like the line of, well, you're not going to scare us. Scared him. And then as soon as Joel's face is like, oh shit, he is terrified. Oh my God, dude. The show is so fucking amazing. Like, they tell so much story without so much dialogue, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like everyone's a fucking fantastic actor. Neil Druckmann and fucking Craig Matson are absolutely killing it, too. Like, I don't know. Like, it's great. It's just great. And I'm happy that it's great. I'm happy that people get to experience this story. Oh.
And if you're not experiencing it, you need to be.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cut to the chase. A+. It's an A+ fucking episode. This season's gonna get an S. I know it is. Like, I don't know. Unless they botch the ending somehow, which I don't think they will.
Yeah,
it's just it's expert. It's expert storytelling. They do it in a way that is just right. They do it in a way that's smart. Like, at the end, when they go to that college town in, where was that?
Colorado Springs, I think.
Yeah. And like in the game, you kill like what, 10, 15 dudes before the final scene where Joel gets skewered.
Yeah.
You kill a bunch of guys. This was better done where Joel is like, no, we just have to escape. We just have to get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, that's so much smarter than the fucking game. Just perfect. Perfect. Anyway, what's your score? I know it's the same.
Yeah, A+. It's fucking great. The right amount of, humor, the right amount of emotional drama, the right amount of, action. The ending on the fucking cliffhanger is like, oh shit, Joel's bleeding out through his fucking guts. What the hell? And she's like, please wake up. I don't know what to do. Please wake up. I don't know what to do.
I can't do this without you.
Yeah. And just the basically admitting her admitting that she cares for him.
Yeah.
And him not saying it in so many words, but by his actions showing that he cares for her.
Yeah, apparently they spent months between Tommy and the college town together.
No, it was just a week.
Was it a week? I thought it was a couple months.
Yeah, he actually says 5 days. Made it in 5 days. But in that stretch of time, he's telling her about how things used to be, teaching her about football. He's teaching her how to shoot a rifle, things like that.
Oh, that's right. Because, okay, never mind. I know why I was thinking months. Never mind. Well, that's something I wanted to bring up real quick. So I watched the trailer for next week's episode. And next week's episode is titled Left Behind. Do you remember the significance of this?
Mm-hmm.
So, for everyone kind of curious what it is, and I'm just going to lay it out there. Next week's episode is a full-on flashback. It's a flashback to Ellie prior to meeting Joel or even Tess. She has mentioned that her friend... Well,
she met Joel and Tess at the same time, so you probably met Marlene.
Oh, that's right. She met... Yeah, sorry, I met Marlene. Yeah, sorry. She's mentioned a couple times in the show already that her and her friend we're in a mall and got bitten, but Ellie didn't get infected. We're getting that story, which is called Left Behind. Now, here's something fascinating, and I think this is really cool and really clever. When Last of Us came out in 2013, it was just a game. Right after this particular moment in the game, it just goes right to the next moment, which is a few months down the road. A couple months, a month, something like that. But it's wintertime. You might have seen a meme online of a woman being distraught and a rabbit comes out of a hole. And she's like, that's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen. And then the rabbit gets shot by an arrow and she goes, oh, and covers her face. It was a meme that went around the internet for a whole long time. That's the first shot, basically right after Joel gets skewered and falls off the horse. However, and this is an important context here, when the DLC called Left Behind had come out, I think, 6 months after the game's release?
Yeah, it was
Something
in
like
that
that.
first year.
Yeah, it was in the year, yeah. It was the story of Ellie and her friend Riley in the mall. But always thought of it being unimportant. Not something that was something we needed to see. Well, when they came out with the remaster, they adjusted a couple things. Because Neil Druckmann said that this part of the story needs to be told right after Joel gets seriously injured. So when you play the DLC in the remastered version, which I actually have downloaded on my PlayStation, it starts with the cutscene of Joel on like it's kind of like a cut, like an edited version, but him falling, getting skewered on the horse, falling off the horse, and Ellie being like, I can't do this without you. The reason that they did that was because Neil says that this story of her and Riley in the mall is a good breaking point for the audience to get a little bit of a flashback before the next traumatic moment in the story. That being said, with the complete remake, if you will, that came out for the PS5 called just Last of Us Part 1,
Mm-hmm.
when you play that game, there is no DLC because that story of Riley and Ellie,
Integrated.
it's just integrated. It's just a part of the whole continuity. So for the show, they're doing the exact same thing. And it's fucking clever. It is brilliant. So I'm real excited for this. But yeah, we got 3 more episodes of the show. I know exactly the beats they're going to hit to the end. Like, it's crazy that, like, I know the story so well that I'm like, yeah, this episode, and then the whole, like, the winter storyline is going to hit for episode 8, and then 9's going to be the finale, and I know what happens in the finale. Oh, dude. I can't get over how good this show is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I'm really enjoying it a lot.
Let me look at a calendar real quick because fuck. I almost fucking fucked up. So we have 3 things to watch next week. Since we're going to wrap up this podcast here, folks. So we have Last of Us episode 8, or episode 7? Yeah, sorry. Last of Us episode 7. Poker Face episode 8. And The Mandalorian season 3 episode 1.
Oh, that comes out next week?
Comes out on the 1st.
Today's the 22nd.
Yeah. We're in February. Next Wednesday is the 1st.
Is next Wednesday the 1st?
Yeah.
So we're watching it
that my calendar.
So we're watching it and then recording afterwards.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
I'm pretty sure it starts on the 1st. Give me a second here because I remember that the last 3 episodes. Yeah. Okay.
It does because we're rewatching The Mandalorian here this evening. In the past few evenings, we've been watching. We watched season 1. We're getting ready to, and I'm 2 episodes into season 2. Getting ready to start the 3rd episode of season 2, and then we're going to watch the Book of Boba Fett again to get all the story to be caught up for next week.
I know that people have to do that, but I never do.
We don't have to. We just choose to.
Okay. I was like, because I know people that they have to do that or they forget like half the shit. My brain just fucking, it's there. It's permanent. I don't know. Like I heard someone complain about Telltale games. Like they didn't come, each new episode came out 2 months after the last one. And they were like, how am I supposed to remember what happened in the first episode by the time episode 2 comes out? And I'm like, first off, there's a recap. Secondly, how are you forgetting that easily? So I don't know. But that's just me. That's just me.
I put a lot of shit in my brain.
Well, I do too. Anywho. But yeah, so I'm excited for that. We're going to get double dose of Pedro Pascal. It'd be funny if he fucking guest stars on the next episode of Poker Face.
That'd be amazing, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen.
No. But yeah, so those 3 things. Make sure you follow us on the socials, which are listed down below. If we add anything, we'll try to keep you updated. We didn't this week, and we usually don't because we're fucking dumb and forget. We're like busy doing other things, and we're like, oh yeah, we're supposed to do that, and then you're surprised. But yeah, but make sure you follow anyway, because you also get updates on when the new episode goes out. So there's that. Check out the Teespring store if you want to get a mug or a T-shirt or whatever with our logo with our faces on it. Spring's around the corner, so people are going to start wearing less warm clothing, and all the proceeds from that go right into the podcast, whether it's paying for the IP or some other fee that I don't know about. It goes right into that, so keep that in mind. Check out our YouTube channel. That's where you'll find episodes of the podcast, which is also linked down below. I know that a lot of people like to listen to podcasts through the YouTube channel, or at least I've heard a few people like to do that. Listen to podcasts, not our podcast, but podcasts in general. So that's where you can do that. I need to adjust that on my notes because I don't know how else to say that. Anyway, that's it. That's it for my notes. Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name, Maya Dawn Fisher. It's a public profile, and it's also linked to my Twitter and Instagram accounts. And basically makes it your one-stop shop for everything I'm up to.
Right now, it's mostly that figure.
Yeah. I've made a few posts, and depending on what I get done today, I'll probably make another update. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's coming along. So
it looks good.
Looking good. But yeah, that's everything. That's me in a nutshell. What about you, Greg? Where can people find you?
You can follow me on Chubrock, or follow me at Chubrock on all socials. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying that, but yeah, just search Chubrock Geek. You'll find me. It's pretty easy. I've been streaming a lot more lately with my friends. It's mostly just to get clips, because we would play on PlayStation and I could get clips with voice, but you can't do that on Xbox. But we've been playing with a guy who only has an Xbox, so I've been streaming to try to get more clips. But yeah, if you want to come watch us live, and I stream at night, so if I'm on, then yeah. We also need to figure out when we can do a. It's hard right now with my fucking job, but a Jackbox stream in the future.
Yeah,
I haven't done that in a fucking minute. And I so I did play Jackbox Party Pack 9 at my buddy Andy's house with his kids.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty fucking fun. There's a couple games that I think would be fun with streaming on that pack. So we'll need to check that out. But yeah, that's it, guys. Mandalorian season 3, Last of Us episode 7, Poker Face episode 8. Watch those. Join us next week. Thank you so much for listening. Always remember, fuck the GOP, fuck the NRA. Donate and help where you can. And we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.